pickup truck, the humble pickup truck. Traditionally, when you hear the words pickup truck, you'd have thought America. You'd have also thought Ford F-150. But over in America, there's always been a car that tried to catch up to the F-150 and failed. The Chevy Silverado. Now, I think we have F-150s in the game, but we don't have a Silverado, or at least we didn't until now. And to be honest, I don't see why. There are far too many American pickups in this game, all of which are exactly the same. What we really need are some utes. I don't even mind if they're American utes, you know, Chevy El Camino, but, you know, a ute is essentially a cross between a saloon and a pickup, and much cooler than a pickup. But anyway, this is an American pickup. Now, the things that you can usually distinguish on an American pickup truck compared to the European ones. These boys are chunky. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the F-150, for example, isn't road legal here. I'm also pretty sure that the Silverado isn't legal here. I know for a fact that the Tesla, look at the PS1 graphics we designed this thing with, definitely isn't road legal here. Because they're too big, so there's Europeanized versions. I don't think Chevy does one, but I know Ford does, with the Ranger. Mercedes also does one, the X-Class, VW the Amarok, so on and so forth. Another way you can tell it's an American car is because you get a lot of car for your money. You know, you get 500 pounds-feet of torque, and a maximum of 1,400 pounds of trailering. Apparently. I'm just reading this off the Chevy website because, quite frankly, I know nothing about the Silverado and do not care for the Silverado. Although it does have one redeeming feature. It's part of a long American tradition of making cars that are a lot of car for the money. Tesla broke that tradition, so we ignore them because fuck Elon Musk. It is, all in all, 37 grand. Which is pretty insane, at least that's for the base one. But even so, I'm pretty sure that, like, something for the Volkswagen Amarok, for example, which is much smaller than this and much slower, is more like 40 or 50 grand. And I'm talking about dollars here as well. 37k in dollars. Meanwhile, Volkswagen Amarok in pounds is more like 40 or 50 for the base one. This is something that American cars have traditionally really been good at. For example, Ford Mustang GT500 Shelby, the early 2000s one. That's a big 200-mile-an-hour car with an enormous 5-litre supercharged V8 with a lot of horsepower. 35 grand? Which is pretty nutty. Just a bit. Anyway, obviously they are less and less more car for the money because of America's crumbling economy thanks to COVID and Donald J. Trump. Fortunately, hopefully, if the American election goes well, I don't want to get political here, but I really don't want Donald Trump in power for America. It's going to ruin the country, and that'll mean that we get less good cars, because the entire country will be bankrupt. You know, if I'm missing out on my Mustangs just because there's an orange Muppet in power, that's not going to make me a happy bunny. Anyway, the thing that you will note about these big American cars that are a lot of car for the money, they tend to be quite cheap on the inside. It's pretty much all power and torque and size. Other than that, usually quite unreliable, cheap interior, pretty much little to no creature comforts, so for example, traction control or an infotainment screen. You do pay the price, for paying such a little price. But I would say it's worth it, to be honest. Power-wise usually isn't a trouble thing for the American cars. Unfortunately, I think this one is paying the price of being so heavy. It's decently quick, but you definitely feel like there's a lot of weight behind it, so it feels like the engine's straining to make the most out of all the power it's got, but it just keeps pushing against the heaviness. That's a good, realistic thing, but it's also bad for the car, because it means the car's pretty rubbish. It's a trade-off. Do you want a good car, or an unrealistic car? I don't know. You tell me. But here's the bit I've been dreading. Big, tall American car, lot of weight. Here we go cornering. Actually, it's not so bad. I am pleasantly surprised. I was expecting it to be far worse than this, but no. It's pretty decent. The body roll is questionable. And the moment I go off-road, it's pretty much game over. But yeah, it's certainly not too bad. Which is lucky, because if I was to scale up the power and handling, but also scale up the brakes, you would realise these brakes are useless. Genuinely useless. Fortunately, because this car is so slow that you don't actually have to use them much. But when you do, you are just feeling like, please stop, please stop, please stop. And then quite often you will go into the guardrail. The brakes are rubbish, if you couldn't tell. So, how will the charging Mad Bull charge around the racetrack? Presumably with me desperately trying to brake really early, because it will probably slam into the wall if I don't. Did I mention the brakes are shit on this? I think I did, but I'm not sure. Anyway, fortunately the actual cornering counteracts that. We are very lucky for that. Brake round this turn. Which no SUV should be going around that turn quick enough. I say SUV, I mean pickup, but this is, you know, essentially just an SUV with the back half cut out. Rock turn, lake turn. The downhill section, I wish it went a bit faster, but you know. No need to lift, it's not that fast. All in all, a 37.38. That's a really good time. Very, very much respectable. I am suitably impressed. So, should you buy this thing? Well, at this point in the game, you should really be focusing on getting fast cars like this Ford Focus RS or this Toyota GR86. But if you come back to this car after you've got a lot of money and want to spend some of it on a cool off-roader, there's one car you should get. Ford F-150. Nah, I'm kidding. Or am I? Actually, hold on. Have I got the upgrades on this? Oh, that's why. No handling upgrades. Well, I will be honest, I think for the first time in history, the Silverado has outdone the F-150 that's been there already for ages. Which means people are still going to keep buying the F-150. And they're going to lose out on this real gem of a car. So, if you're going to come back round and get a pickup for around 62 grand, I think this is your best bet. Don't buy a Ford F-150. Be different because it's good. That's a pretty big bombshell, actually. Which means we can end. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, hopefully.